Record to the cloud. Okay, welcome. Happy Friday. This is Gentle Yoga with Kat. Welcome. We're going to use a handful of props. And when you think about props, really think about props as scaffolding for your body. And I was just talking to Nancy beforehand about sort of things that are going on in the body, right? Our bodies are in different circumstances right now in life, in the universe, in the world. And there's different ways to really support the body. And one of the best ways really in the yoga practice is to use props. And so think about props really like scaffolding in your body today, where you're meant to do work and you're meant to have a little bit of effort. You're meant to be kind of tenacious in the way that you need a little bit of work in the body, so that you're not disembodying the pose. And some of these restorative yoga practices, you can really just kind of flop onto something. And in gentle yoga, we want a little bit of that tenacity and effort so that we can catch grace, right? So that our body can have that release, either physical release, mental release, psychological release, whatever's kind of going on with the body. So just notice and be aware of where you are coming to this, and lots of modifications. So before we get started, grab 2 blocks or 2 sturdy books, 2 blankets if you have it, and if you have a bolster, great. If not, grab a pillow today, and then you're going to want a chair. And I recommend a chair without wheels if you have one. If you have wheels, put it against a wall, and we're going to use that closer to the end of practice. So as we get settled and started today, I just put up in the comments a playlist. You're welcome to start that playlist now. And we're going to use our props today to sit into Virasana. And as we sit into Virasana, take your 2 blocks, and if this isn't good for your knees, you can sit in Sukhasana, just one leg crossed in front of the other. Take your 2 blocks, stack them on the medium facet, and this is really going to fit your butt bones. Take your knees, come onto your shin bones. And so right away, sometimes we need a blanket. Put a blanket perhaps just on top of the block so the hip bones connect to the blanket. And then really try to fit the blocks, everybody, by taking your feet a little bit more in. And then notice as you settle in and down, take your hands to your glutes and see if you can lift your glutes up just a little bit so you can spread the thighs out. And you're really aiming to sit down and in and onto your perineum. And so when we sit onto our perineum, it's like we're plugging in, but we're plugging in so that we can feel an electric current to lift up and off, right? So it's this balance that we play a lot with my yoga practice, in my yoga practices, of finding that tenacious effort, but you're finding it so that you can lift off of it to catch grace, but you're mediating between those 2 things, okay? And then take your hands either to your thighs or your hands to your heels. And then really just see if you can start to fit the lower body with the upper body and the upper body with the lower body. So you're getting that currency running through. And then start to tilt yourself forward just slightly. Notice what's in front of you. Notice what's behind you, what's to the left, what's to the right, and then what's up and down. And so when we're doing this in our practice, when we're sort of being aware of all of our surroundings, we're able to come into our own practice. We're really able to find ourself or our center. And in yoga, the center is often called a union, right? And so the word of yoga literally translates to mean union, but it's not just one or the other. It's not just up and down. It's up and down, something in between those 2, and that's you. It's not black or white. It's black and white, so that we can mediate and find that union of coming together. And so whatever you're coming here with today in your yoga practice, I want you to think about those 2 polarities. And we've been seeing a lot of polarity right now in our world. So it's really sort of learning within ourselves first how to mediate what's around us, because we know it's not just up and down, it's not just right and left, but it's being able to see all around us so that we can really navigate and build good technique physically first, so that we can then step out into the world. Okay, so close your eyes and let's put all that into practice with the breath, with pranayama practice. As you inhale, breathe in, up, left, right, front, and back. As you exhale, feel like you're coming back to yourself at your center. And then do that again. Inhale, front, back, left, right, up and down. Exhale as you come back to yourself at the center. And then really start to notice if you have a tendency to tip yourself back, really kind of reflecting off the past. Maybe just noticing something that's still stirring in the mind. Or you're able to start to tip yourself a little bit more forward so you can begin to maybe become aware of what's in front of you. And we, of course, know that we don't know the future, right? We don't know when there's going to be a cure, when there's going to be a resolution. And that's where a lot of the anxiousness comes from, where we feel that anxiety of the unknown. And our past is sort of this reflection of what we've known or what we do know. And so even between those two things, really mediate between what you know, your past, your inheritance, what you're perhaps anticipating, and then we can only meet ourselves in the middle to find that union. And so meet yourself today really in the middle of two different polarities. Maybe it is up and down. Maybe it is front and back. Maybe it is past and future. So you can really find yourself right in the center of it, right in the center of your circumstance, whatever that is today. And then seal in an intention. An intention is just a way of gathering all of your energy and putting it into the present moment. And so maybe it is just giving yourself the next 60 minutes to heal and restore. And then set an intention, take a breath, take a deep breath, inhale through the nose. Open, let all that out through the mouth. Let it go, let it go. And then take the hands together at the heart. Really try to touch right hand to left hand, and then touch the thumbs to the sternum, but take the thumbs a little bit more over to the left. That's where your heart is. And then so you can turn your heart just slightly to the right. And really mediate between your right and left to find almost like an invisible and implicit third hand at the center. And that makes you. That makes up everything that you know, everything that you've known, everything that you anticipate right now in this moment. And then blink the eyes open. Namaste. Welcome, everyone. Come over and off of your props. Just set them off into the side. And have your blocks, everybody, just to the top right corner of the mat. So you have them nice and organized, really nice and organized and well. And then right away, come into a dog. Come into a downward facing dog. So start today with a wide down dog. Take your hands to the widest part of the mat, and then step your feet to the widest part of your mat. So you're really able to navigate and take up a lot of room and a lot of space. And then you can decide here if you want the knees bent. Maybe try to relax the chest towards the thighs, but it's not just relaxing the chest towards the thighs, it's also lifting the thighs up towards the chest. So even in the body, as we navigate this polarity, we're really finding the opposite so that we can come and find the middle. And then slowly begin to send the heels down if you bend the knees. And then just take a moment here, 3 breaths. You can shake the head out now. Maybe let go of any negativity that's almost like a dark cloud around you. And then shake the head, yes. So last night in Virginia, we had this huge storm, such a huge storm that on my morning walk, it had a lot of debris. And so just noticing perhaps that sometimes we have big storms, right? We have these big things in our nature that remind us that we're going to come through something, right? So we never know when a storm is really going to end. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But just notice if you can start to maybe shake off that sense of a storm. And then come into a more regulation down dog. Take your hands shoulder distance. Step your feet hip distance. But if you like the wide dog today, keep it. And then measure out your dog. Come into a plank pose. Keep the gaze out in front of you, everybody. Maybe you have to lengthen and straighten the legs back. Press the heels back, but keep reaching the crown of the head forward. And then push down through the arch of the hands, arch of the palm to lift up and out of the shoulders. And then start to take the gaze forward, but don't just look with the neck. Get your whole body involved. Look forward from your pubic bone, your sternum, and your chest. And then drop your knees down, everybody, hips to heels for Abhavasana, child's pose. Take the arms out in front of you if you're feeling like you need a little bit more energy today. If you'd like to go inward, take your hands back into your heels. And then connect to the breath. Breathe in through the belly, the rib cage, the chest. Exhale from the chest, the rib cage, and the belly. And then inhale, look forward, come onto your hands and knees for a table pose. And then one more time, downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. And then on an inhale, look at your right thumb. Pick up your right foot, step your right foot to your right thumb. Take your hands wide and off the mat. So if using a clock face, think about 12 o'clock in front of you. Think about on your right hand to your right side is 3 o'clock. Behind you towards your tailbone, back and down is 6. And over to the left is about 9 o'clock. So really take your hands wide, everybody. Tend your fingertips. Take your right hand to 3. Your left hand to 9, and then everybody look forward towards the front of the mat. Push down into your right heel to lift your right buttock bone up. Yes, so good. Keep looking forward a little bit more. Now drop your back knee down, untuck your back toes. Grab a hold of your blocks before you rise up. Take your blocks, everybody, on the highest height, or use your books if you have them. And take your blocks so there's a straight line from the front of the blocks in the heel and the heel. Your heel is almost in the center of the blocks, and then reach your arms forward and up for a low lunge. Good. Push into your right big toe and think that your outer right hip firms in. And then so you can lift up and off of your left thigh. And then really get your arms in line with your ears. That's it. Stay for one more breath, and then drop just your right hand down to the block. So some of you might be able to touch. If you feel like it's a struggle, pick up your second block, everybody, and take it like a T on top. And I'll do that just for demo purposes. Yeah, so you don't want to struggle with this. Reach your left hand straight up. That's it, straight up. And then start to lean and side bend up and over towards the right side. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper today, you can start to tuck your chin into your left armpit, and then maybe turn the gaze up. So you're really side bending from the side of the body. But think that side bend, it doesn't collapse the right side of the body. You're lifting off the right side of the body to lengthen, and then you're able to go a little bit deeper. That's it. And then keep rotating a little bit more. Keep your right rib cage turning towards the front. So good, Zach. Keep that right knee centered over the right foot. Yes, good. Take one more breath in. And then exhale, set just the left hand down. Take the left hand to the inside of the right foot. So almost try to connect the inside of the right knee to the upper part of the left arm. And then take your right hand to your low back at your sacrum. Look forward again towards 12 o'clock, towards the front of your mat. And I want you to really spread the back toes. Spread the back toes from the big toe to the pinky toe. And then look forward, look out. And then start to turn the pose, but only if it feels accessible for you today, because this is a twist just here. If you want a little bit more, start to turn and look over your right shoulder. That's it. That's it. Keep turning and turning the pose. And then inhale, look down, plant both hands down. Grab both blocks again. We're going to move into Ardha Hanumasana from here. Take your blocks on the highest height, everybody, and take your right foot onto the heel. Onto the heel. Flex your toes towards your nose. Put a small micro bend into the right knee before you just straighten the leg. And I want you to think that the center of the knee moves up and away from the quadricep. It moves up towards the quadricep. And then really get long through the front of the body. Breathe in, keep the arms and elbows straight, or you can take a slight micro bend into the elbows, but that's going to create more tension into the hamstring. Keep moving your right hip to 3, keep moving your left hip over to 9. And then think your pubic bone moves forward towards 12, and your tailbone moves back and down towards 6 o'clock. And then just take 3 more breaths here, just pausing. So again, you can stay. If you want to make this dynamic, you can lift up. And then exhale, bend the elbows and fold. So again, stay for 2 more breaths, or you can make this dynamic, lengthening, exhale, and folding. And then just tune in to see what you need. A little bit more movement today, perhaps just stillness. The next time you inhale, arms and elbows come straight. Exhale, bend into the right knee, come back to your lunge. Take your blocks just off into the side, and then make your way back into a table pose from here. Spread your hands evenly and well. Stack your hips on top of your knees. Inhale to cow pose. Tilt the pelvis forward, look out. Really spread the collarbones, everybody. That's going to open your torso and chest. It's going to physically create more space in your lungs. Turn your biceps forward, turn your triceps back. And then exhale to cat. Push the hands down and round through the spine. Inhale, come back to your table pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look at your left thumb, pick up your left foot, step your left foot forward to your left thumb. And then take your time, take your hands off the sides of the mat. Take them really wide and off. Right hand comes to 3, left hand comes to 9. Look forward, but again, look forward from your pubic bone rather than just cranking your neck forward. Look forward from your pubic bone, your navel, and your chest. And then really plug your right heel back, but think your right heel moves back so it bends your left knee forward. Now drop your back knee down, untuck your back toes. Before you lift up, take your blocks on either side of your left foot. And if you know you needed that T shape for the side bend, set your T up. Reach your arms forward and up. Low lunge. That's it. Really get your arms and elbows nice and straight as best as you can. That's it. And if you need to go wider with the arms, that's fine, but try to keep out any creases in the arms and the shoulders. Think that the tips of your shoulders move in and down, but the tips of the shoulders also push you forward into your chest if there's a widening of the collarbones. And that widening of the collarbones is going to physically create more space into the armpits and into the lungs. Drop just your left hand down, touch the blocks, and then reach up a little bit more first, then start to tip and side bend over to the left side. Start to tuck the chin into the armpit if you did that variation on the first side. And then really get long through the sides of the waist. Think your right rib cage moves a little bit more to the right, and your left rib cage spins a little bit more towards the front. And then notice if you're collapsing into that left side, think your left side lifts you up and off so you can side bend a little bit more. So pretty. Keep moving into your left big toe to keep your left knee centered. Yes, so much better for everyone. Good. Drop your right hand down, just your right hand. Take your right hand close to your left foot. And you can almost, some of you might be able to fit your left knee into your right arm. Take your left hand to your low back at your sacrum. Don't twist yet. Look forward towards 12 o'clock. Then, if it's accessible, start to turn the pose. Keep your right shoulder moving towards 12, your left shoulder moving back towards 6. And then use this side of the rib cage to really turn and spin the pose. So we're not just cranking the neck, we're moving the whole torso, getting the lower body connected to the upper body. Turn the pose around and around and around. Stay for one more breath. And then slowly come back to face center. Take your blocks on either side of the front foot. Come on to your left heel. Flex your left toes. So when you flex the left toes, right away the hamstring is going to start to straighten the leg. But to protect the knee and to protect the low back in particular, for some of you, you want to start with more of a bent left knee. And when you start with a bent left knee, you're going to engage your quadricep. When you engage your quadricep, think that the quadricep lifts away from the center of the knee. So it's almost like a plumb line, like a spine. Think that there's one straight line from the center of your knee lifting away, almost like you're pulling your pants up. If you're putting on yoga pants or shorts, kind of hiking it up. It's that same sensation that you're going to work with. Then really use the imagination to start to look forward and look out. So it's a fold of the hip, but it's a lengthening of the torso. Stay with straight arms and straight torso for 3 breaths. Inhale. If you want to add a little bit dynamic movement, exhale, bend the knees, and then start to soften and fold. But keep the chest forward, keep the gaze forward. So there's no rounding in the upper back and the upper shoulders. The movement comes from the elbows as you start to engage the triceps. Do that one more time. You can bend and flow or stay in stillness. Really move with where your body feels at its best today. Good, so beautiful. Look forward, look out. Rebend the left knee. Take the blocks again, just off and to the side. Actually organize them to the right side of the mat so they're nice and organized. And then step back to your table pose. Realign yourself, stack your shoulders over your wrists. Think that your thumb and your first finger, I'll say that one more time, your thumb and your first finger come a little bit more into the pose. So really push your thumb and your first finger down, but allow this pinky edge of the hand to really press out so you can root down into the palm so that you can rise up and out of the shoulders. Inhale the cow pose, look forward, look out. Really spin your biceps forward, your triceps back. Yes, so much stronger, good. Exhale to cat, tuck the chin in and round. Inhale, come back to your table pose, and then exhale either to a down dog if you feel like you have energy today, or you can come back into a child's pose. I'm gonna go into a dog, and so I want you just to breathe for 3 breaths, either in child's or in a dog. And the dog can be a little bit buoyant. You can bend the knees, maybe shake out any stagnation in the body. And then when you're ready, we'll all walk to the top of the mat and find a forward fold. Uttanasana, forward fold. That's it. Right away, make 2 fists. Slide the fists to the inner arches of the feet. And when we do that, we're measuring the inner arches of the feet so that we're not guessing what hip distance is. We know it in our own body. Bend your knees. Inhale, release the hands. Press your feet down. Reach your arms up. Rise to stand. That's it. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Good. So we're going to move through Surya Namaskar, just a modified Surya Namaskar today. Press your feet down. Take your feet hip distance, and if you lost that connection, reconnect. On an inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Keep your palms pressed together. Keep your gaze forward. Side bend over to the right. Good. Feel that polarity. Move to the right, but push down to your left foot. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale to the left. Press down through your right foot. Inhale, come back through center. Trace the hands through the midline. Bend your knees as you fold. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Push your feet down, reach your head forward. Really so you can get long through all 4 sides of the torso. Exhale, bend the knees as you fold. Forward fold. Inhale, rise back up. You can circle the arms around and up. Really do this to make it personal. Do what feels best to you. Exhale, hands to the heart. Right away, inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, reach back up through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale and fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins. Exhale and fold. Rise up. Make it your own. You can reverse swan dive, reach up and out. Exhale, hands back with the heart. Good. We've got 3 more. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, side bend. So when we come to the salutations, reach the arms back up. Exhale to the left. Salutations really welcome our day. Folds come all the way down. So maybe an opportunity this morning to practice gratitude, halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale as you fold. Maybe just to let go of something as you rise up and really greet the new day. Hands to the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. And so maybe make it personal as you come through this next round. Maybe just an offering to yourself. Side bend to the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale and fold. Maybe bowing to something. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale as you fold. Last one, rise up, breathe in. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, back through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale and fold. Maybe touching the thumbs to the third eye, the heart as you fold. Really making that mind-body connection. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale as you fold. Then slide the hands down. Step back to a down dog or a table pose, your choice. So option again to come into a child's. If you want a little bit more movement, take a half a Surya Namaskar. Feet back, you can bend the elbows, lower down for those of you that want a vinyasa or practice vinyasa. Press back, come into a child's pose. And then take a breath here, just to pause, take a moment to reflect. And then we're gonna get set up in our first restorative pose. Take your pillow or your blankets. And if you have a bolster, use your bolster for this. We're gonna do a child's pose. And child's pose with the bolster, the most important part of child's pose with the bolster is to have the head and the neck supported onto either a pillow or a blanket or a bolster. So as you drape the torso over, you can turn the cheek to one side. Usually we go for our favorite side at first, and that's okay. If you feel like any low back tension or just kind of anything going on with a low back, a nice option is to bring the prop up to you a little bit. So I encourage you to take your blocks underneath, then place the prop on top. So you're bringing the ground up to you a little bit more. Yeah, Nancy, that might be a good option for you to put something underneath. And then drip your torso down. If you still feel like there's any tension in the low back or even into the hips, you can use your blanket. Take the blanket and place it in between the heels and the buttock bones. And then turn the cheek to one side. Really allow yourself this opportunity to just hit the pause button. And in all these practices, I really want you to move a little bit. So we want to move through energy so that we can find stillness. And this is really this opportunity to explore these polarities in the body. And nature reminds us of these polarities in the body, right? So no matter what's going on in the world, right? No matter what's going on, even here in Washington, D.C., or in our own homes or under our own roof, nature keeps moving around us, right? Nature doesn't know the circumstances of the world and what's going on. It keeps blooming. Rain keeps falling down from the sky. We keep ripening into summer. This week in particular, we really ripen with the heat. And when we ripen with the heat, we know that we can sometimes get overheated. And so the polarity that nature reminds us of is this balance between hot and cold. We don't want to burn out. If we keep burning, we're eventually going to burn down. And so even our storm last night, or these summer storms that we have in the Washington, D.C. area in particular, or in Virginia, these storms remind us that we need to cool down. And so as we mediate between things that make us fiery and things that make us cool, we start to explore the union, the yoga. But we need good practices and good techniques so that we know when we're too hot. We know when we're too fiery. We know when we lose our temper. We know when we start a fire. We know how to cool it down so that we don't burn out. And so as we mediate between these things, maybe consider just using the breath to notice how or what the temperature of the breath is like. As you breathe in, there's a cooling breath. And as you breathe out, it's warmth. Maybe just exploring those sensations, even with the breath. And with all of this, we notice without judgment, so that we notice when things arise. We know when to be tenacious, and we know when to do the work and to put in the effort. And then we know how to pause, how to rest. Take 3 breaths and turn your cheek and find the opposite side. And 3 more deep breaths in and out. Take your time, remind yourself to find that gentleness as you walk the hands back and lift the chest up. And then turn on to your left side. And if you move to the right, it's no big deal. We're gonna come into a restorative twist from here. Keep your pillow or your bolster out in front of you and inch your left hip a little bit more so it's connecting to the prop. And then your choice, I like to stagger my legs. I like to take my top leg and put my knee right underneath my foot. Sometimes if you take the legs and you stack them, they fall asleep. So notice what feels really just most restorative and beneficial to you. And then you're gonna rotate your torso on top of your bolster or your prop. Walk your hands down, and then it depends on how your neck feels. I prefer to have my head turned towards my knees, but if you really want to stretch the neck and it feels okay for your neck, you can turn your head away from your knees, but just know that that's going to be a little bit more tenacious and effortful. And then again, if you have low back tension or really sort of anything that it doesn't feel right, bring the prop up to you so it's really giving you a little bit more of a lift off and away from the ground so you can find that balance between effort and ease. And then really start to settle in. And the props really do the work for the body. So we find a little bit of effort, but we want to embody the pose. And when we embody the pose, we start to navigate the personal terrain of the body and the space of the body. So we become aware of what's going on in your own personal territory or domain. And then just take a scan of the body from the head to the toes. Notice where you're holding any tension. Maybe it's the jaw or the face. Maybe the space in between the eyebrows. And then really use the imagination to begin to soften and release. The imagination is one of our most powerful tools in yoga practice because it helps us see things that maybe we can't physically see, but we know are there. And so when we breathe into our lungs, we can't see our lungs inflating, right? We can't see our diaphragm going up and down, but we know it's there. And so start to use the imagination to just visualize the breath coming in the body, and then maybe visualize the breath coming out. And then make it personal. Do 5 rounds. Visualize the breath coming in. Visualize the breath coming out. Maybe build a container for it. As you breathe in, give it a count of 4 so the breath is contained. 1 on the inhale, 2 the pause, 3 the exhalation, and 4 the pause. And so do 5 rounds on your own, but make it personal. So maybe imagine something that has felt contained, right? We're all a little bit physically contained right now, but maybe what's mentally contained right now? What's been stirring that needs to move out? It's like tending our own personal garden. We have to do the work, we have to pull the weeds, but we have to allow rain to come down. We have to allow sun to shine, but we also have to give our personal garden a little bit of breath. So take out any weeds, tend your garden, see what you need to get out so that you can find more space. And then on your own time, finish those 5 counts. And then when you feel like the mind has wandered to something else, do 1 more count. And then walk the hands back, lift the chest up. Everybody will turn away from their bolster improv to the back of your mat to turn onto the second side and set yourself up on the second side. And then simply become aware of where the mind is moving and where it's wandering. And then again, put your breath on a 4 count, give it a container. And so when we often disembody these yoga poses, the mind can just simply move and wander to where it may. But when we put our practice to a count, like a breath count of 4, we're able to really frame our experience a little bit more so that we can find a good frame. And when we have a good frame, we have a good frame of reference. And when we have a good frame of reference, we know what's up and down. We have corners so that we can see right and left. we can see front and back, and that we can find the middle. And when we find the middle, we're able to come into our own circumstances. Take 5 breaths on your own. Maybe build yourself that personal container. Everyone's been gardening lately around our neighborhood, so maybe, again, use that imagination to build your own personal garden. Does it need to be weeded? Do you need to water it today? Does it need sunlight? Do you need to dig up a plant and move it so that it doesn't get too much sun or too much shade? How can you reorganize how you're spending the time in your garden? If you go out in the middle of the day and you water, that may not be the best choice, right? So observe how you're spending your time, how you're spending your day. And all of this without judgment. Take one more breath together, breathe in. Exhale, breathe out. And walk your hands back, sit all the way up. Take your props and everything just off into one side. And then we're gonna set ourselves up with the chair. Take your chair, or if you have the edge of something, that's fine too. Take it towards the back of your mat, everybody, but I see some of you don't have that capability, so just if you need to set yourself up next to it, set yourself up next to it. So you're gonna want 2 blankets if you have them. The first blanket you're gonna wanna fold in half, and we're gonna be seated on the ground for this, okay? We're not actually gonna physically sit in the chair. Take your blanket and fold it in half. Place it just at the edge of the base of the chair. And then you're gonna take a second blanket and you're gonna drape it, just open it and drape it on top. Try to get the blanket so that if you have an edge, the blanket is really over. This is where the back of your body is gonna go, so that it's really a little bit softer for you. And then I like to sit, so depending on how your back is feeling, I like to actually sit a little bit higher on my blanket, but just kind of play with that. So you might have to sit down and then fold it again and have to sit up a little bit more. Take one block about to the middle of the chair. Think that if you're sitting in the chair, this is where you would sit down. So you're not sitting all the way back, but the block is a little bit more forward. And even with that, you might have to adjust a little bit. So feel free to watch if this is likely going to be new for most of us. Sit so that when you come to a seat, your buttock bones are really onto the edge of your blanket. And when you do that, you really want to think that you're lifting your pubic bone forward and up. So there's almost a slight tilt of the pelvis forward. And when you tilt the pelvis forward, you're going to be able to open your chest a little bit more. And then from here, take your strap, everybody, if you have a strap. If not, that's okay. Take your strap, and I want you to strap around the middle of your calves and shins. The middle of your calves and shins. And even that might take some navigation. Okay. If you have your bolster, you have your pillow, slide it under your knees. And this is going to help those that have low back tension, because you want the knees to be bent. Slide a pillow under your knees, Nancy. Yeah. That blanket that's on the chair would work fine too. Yeah. To just kind of roll it up. Yeah, Zach, perfect. Good. I can't see the others, but if you can, slide something under your knees. When you come into this, you're gonna put the tips of your shoulder blades. So for women, that's about where your bra line will hit, the tips of your shoulder blades down. And then you might have to, like I have a ponytail, you might have to take your ponytail out to lay the back of your head back. And so if this feels like it's too much, you can put a pillow to lift your head up. So if you come back into the back bend and it's like, whoop, too much, put a pillow underneath your head. Yeah, good. And then from here, a couple arm variations. You can take your hands to the edge of the chair. You can take your hands to the side. If you take your hands to the side, think 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. But if your hands are down into the side, turn your palms up, everybody, so you're really opening the armpit to create that space across the collarbones. If this feels okay in your low back and you want to back bend a little bit more, play with an arm variation. You can either grab opposite hand to opposite elbow, or play with taking an eagle wrap of the arms. And you can even reach back if you have a bar for your chair or a back, you can reach back and find eagle arms. So I'm going to walk you through this. And as you come, so if the arms are just too much today, I know this is new for a lot of us, if the arms are too much, keep the hands down next to the side, turn the palms up, okay? Good. So as I walk you through this, we're going to do a little bit of breath work, and we will switch sides of the arms. That's it. So most of you, even I can barely see Zach, but I can tell that you need to plug your buttocks bones back a little bit more, Zach, so that your pubis comes a little bit more forward. So think about plugging your hips back so there's a little bit more of a forward bend, and that's going to help you plug in so you can lift off a little bit more. Yes, good. I'm just going to come and watch now. Good. So as you come into this practice, really start to connect your sits bones down. Think that your sits bones plug you in and down. And then we'll do a little bit of mapping with the body with this. Find your right buttock bone. Think that your right buttock bone plugs you in and down. And then there's an imaginary line from your right buttock bone to your left knee. Think that there's a sneaky turn in of your left big toe. As you turn your left big toe in just slightly, it's going to move your left hip out to the right, or left hip out rather to the left side. That's it. And then find your left buttock bone. Draw a imaginary line from your left buttock bone to your right knee. And then find that sneaky turn in of your right big toe to move your right hip a little bit more out to the right. So the hips are still moving to 9 and 3. And your pubis is lifting forward. Think that your thighs plug back. So there's more of a plug in to lift you off. So you find that currency, because this is a back bend and a forward bend. Okay. So I know this pose gets a little tenacious, right? A little bit effortful, but we do the effort so we can catch the grace. So mediate between those two things. If you took an arm variation that has one side, switch it so that it's another. Or if the arms feel like they're just getting fatigued and you need to put them down, okay? And then we'll practice the breath of the season. So repetition in the body, repetition just like when we do Surya Namaskar, repetition reminds us of pattern, and we see pattern everywhere. We see pattern in the seasons when we move from spring to summer. We see patterns in nature, where things are born, they live and then they die, and then some things are born again. But when we see pattern in the body, it reminds us of our own personal nature. And so inhale, imagine that spring is rising in front of you. Hold the breath at the top as summer ripens. Exhale, imagine the breath traveling down the back for fall, the harvest. Hold the breath on the exhale out as you begin to find winter. And then find that again. Inhale, spring rises in front of you from the ground up. Hold the breath as summer ripens at the top. Exhale down the back for fall descending. Hold the breath on the out for winter. To come out of this, take your hands down next to your hips if you took an arm variation. And then try not to, this can feel a little jarring to come out of. So at first, just lift the head up, but keep the hands on the base of the chair to give you more support. That's it. And then you can start to peel yourself up and away. Okay, good, stay. We're gonna twist just gently. Take your right hand to your left knee. And then take your left hand, keep your torso forward, everybody, but if you have the block still behind you, you can move it off to the side. Take your left hand to the seat of the chair. You can even reach for the back of the chair. Don't turn yet. Really try to make this gentle. Take your right shoulder a little bit more towards 12 o'clock. Your shoulder comes really in between the thighs and the knees. And then so you can spin your left shoulder back towards 6. Then start to take the gaze back. Look back towards your left hand. Keep rooting your sits bones down. Think your perineum roots you down, but also lifts you up. And then really plug your thighs back. So you're sitting into your sits bones. Allow your thighs to plug back so there's a lift off and away of your pubis coming forward, your sternum lifting. And that tilt of the pelvis, everybody, is going to help you back bend a little bit more. That might mean bend your knees more a little bit. Yeah, all of you, bend your knees more. So press your heels down, bend your knees. Yes, now you can really root your sits bones down to lift forward. Yes, so much stronger, good. And then come back, switch sides, left hand to right knee. Right hand to the back of the base of the chair. And if you need to navigate your props a little bit, feel free to do that. So just a really gentle twist. And then before you start to turn the pose, get the shoulders aligned first. So the pelvis is really your anchor. It's like a 3-pronged plug in a socket. And then start to turn your right shoulder a little bit back towards 6 and your left shoulder a little bit more towards 3 o'clock or 9 or 12 o'clock. That's it. Good, and then keep turning the pose. Turning the pose. Keep rooting your sits bones down. Bend your knees, but don't move your heels so that your sits bones plug you in and down. Your thighs move back to lift your pubis forward and your tailbone back and down. So good. Come back, turn your torso back forward. That's it. If you have the prop underneath your knees, which most of you do, just take it off into the side, and then we're going to come into our final rest. Our final rest is going to be a variation of legs up the wall, but we're going to use the chair. Take your block off to the side. Take your strap off the thighs, or off the shin bones if you use them. And then for a lot of us, this is going to be a really nice release for the low back. But if you want, it works best to have a little bit of a crease underneath the neck so that you can really support the cervical spine. So we're going to kind of build the ground up from this so we can find the natural curvatures in the spine. So we want that natural curve into the low back. Take your blanket and you're going to just roll the edge of the blanket up. Place it behind you and then sit close to the chair. You're going to take your legs onto the chair. Really try to take the calves and the shins onto the chair, but be close enough so that when you recline back, you'll have to scoot your blanket back, but be close enough that when you recline back, you're not finding a pocket of air underneath the low lumbar spine. There's no curvature of the low lumbar spine. You want to be close enough to the chair that you can really release and try to flatten as best as you can. That's where the imagination comes in, right? So we can't actually flatten our spine because it's naturally has curves in it. But we want to use our imagination to really try to lengthen the tailbone back and down. And as you do that, start to just soften and release. And then if you want anything with the arms today, opposite hand out, opposite elbow, or if you really want more space for the lungs and to breathe, take your arms out wide into a T. And if you want to get really juicy into this, I would take a strap around your thighs, but you don't have to. If that feels like more effort, don't do it. But if it feels like it's going to help give you a sense of security in the thigh bones, feel free to do that. And then allow yourself to come to final rest and release. And then find the polarity within this pose. We're literally turned upside down. And when our world turns us upside down, we get disoriented. We have trouble finding what's up and down, what's left and right, what's front and back. And so start to find the ground with your imagination. Notice what's underneath you, what's supporting you. And then just notice what's above you. And then start to notice your whole environment only with your imagination. So when the eyes are closed, the imagination becomes powerful. And then see if you can start to navigate your own personal terrain with your breath. And take a breath in through the nose. Open, exhale, let it out through the mouth. And then when you're ready, you can start to come off to one side. Roll up. Come to a seat. Sit on something, sit onto a block or sit onto a blanket. Just come to Sukhasana, legs crossed. And we're just gonna end the last minute of our practice just with a little bit of last pranayama and breath work as we close today. And so take a moment, take opposite hand to opposite elbow, make a frame with the hands. And then inhale, lift the frame up. Just lift it to a place that feels comfortable. You don't have to strain. And then exhale, let the breath down, let the arms fall back down. And then do that again a couple times. So just start to notice the rise, notice the falling. Next time the arms come up, look to your left, look to your right, get a good view, almost like a window opening. And then just start to notice maybe the temperature, notice what's around you, and then really find yourself in the center. Then take your forearms back down. And then switch opposite hand to opposite elbow. And then inhale, arms rise. Exhale, arms fall. And then so start to feel here, feel both the up and the down. So you're navigating and finding yourself in the middle. Notice what's to the left, what's to the right, so that you have a good frame of reference. Notice what's in front of you, what's behind you. Notice if you're feeling that fire rising behind you, and water falling in front of you. So you can make steam, so you don't burn out, you don't get too wet. And then do that 2 more times, up and down. You can move at your own pace or just move fast to navigate what feels good for you. And then just relax your hands down. Take your right hand, just shake, 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 shake your right hand out towards the side. And so with your peripheral vision, really see your right hand moving and then start to go up and then start to go down. And then do that fast, up and down a couple of times so you can really see what's on your right. Your right hand is your hand of doing, your hand that makes your way out into the world. It's your hand of action. And then put your right hand down, shake your left hand. Your left hand is your heart space. It's the hand closest to your heart. So just shake, shake, shake it out. Shake out your feelings, shake out your emotions, shake out anything that's going on. And then start to move it up and move it down. Move it up and move it down. And notice you can feel silly with this, right? You can smile with this. And then take both hands, just shake them out. Shake, 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 shake it out. So shake out anything that's going on. Notice where you are right in circumstances. Notice if this feels fun, if it feels silly, and then go up and down, up and down, up and down. And then start to make contact. Clap your hands. Notice what it is to feel accomplished. Really allow yourself to make good contact from right and to left so that you can mediate between those 2 things. And then reach your arms up. Make cups with your hands. Fill yourself up so you can catch grace. You can catch rain descending. Take a big breath. Inhale. Fill up. Open the mouth. Exhale. Do that again. Inhale. Fill yourself all the way up. This time, hold the breath at the top. Take 3 sips of air in. Hold, hold, hold. Get really full. Open the mouth. Exhale. Let it out. Do that 1 more time. Inhale, fill yourself all the way up, 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 up. Hold the breath at the top. Take 3 big sips of air. Inhale. Hold, hold, hold. Get really fill up. And then open the mouth. Exhale. Imagine rain descending on you. Let go of that heat and capacity. Thank you, everyone. So fun to practice with you this morning. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that we did. A couple of things coming up tonight is my favorite event of the month that Ease does. Janine will be doing the full moon gong bath at 8 p.m. It's such a great way to ground. I think everyone needs this right now. So it's on, she'll add you to a Facebook group if you join it. Really great. I love Janine. She's wonderful. It's a great way just to kind of reset as you head into the weekend. And at the end of June, I'm going to be doing a Ripen into Summer, Ripen into Summer workshops. If you want to join that, feel free to join. It's free for members. If you're a member, feel free to do that. Lots of other great workshops coming up, so check that out. It's a great way to support the studio. Let me know if you have any questions. If you can donate to the studio, great. If not, please just keep taking classes. We really want this to be an opportunity for those that really need it in their lives right now. So share it. If you have friends, neighbors, anyone that really could use the practices with Ease, feel free to share it. I'll turn off the recording, but if you want to just stay on and have questions, feel free to ask.